Hi, this is Roger Menzel, and we're in Kayanza, Rwanda, with John Africa, the headmaster of the New Life Christian Academy, and Craig Gfeller, who's principal of Westgate Elementary School in Manassas, Virginia. And it's a great opportunity for them to kind of share some thoughts and ideas about what's going on in their respective schools and the challenges, opportunities, and successes that they've had in both environments. And so we're going to let them talk a little bit and share it with you. And here we go.
What do you do as far as building it into the curriculum and working with kids to help them perform at high levels?
Thank you very much for that question. What we do, first of all, have what we call career guidance. We guide them, even when before they leave, graduate from, let's say, grade 9 to go to high school, because a child who graduates from grade 9 to go to high school, he has to really know what he's going to be doing in high school, let's say combinations. And what we do here, we first help them to identify, subjects which they think they're very competent with, which they think they can pass high. So that is done in groups of 4 or 5 with the teacher who is in charge of career guidance. We first see their potentials, and then we advise them accordingly. Then we have also we divide them into smaller groups where they will sit and discuss how best to prepare for these exams. Yeah, and we assign each group a teacher in that particular subject. If it is science, they will have a teacher who is well competent with chemistry or biology to take on that group, to be able to really help them and to share with them, and to be able to help them, even those who are weaker, to learn from their friends, and to be able to identify the weak areas in some of these students, and then they're able to help them after having them in small groups. So thereafter, we know for sure that if a particular group has maybe 3 or 4 individuals who are really weak, then we do remedial classes for them.
Okay.
Yeah. Then thereafter, we know that for sure they're now at a certain stage where they can perform better. So we have discovered that small groups works much better than just have a class of 50 students or 45 students. Yeah. So that's what we do.
We do something very similar when we look at strengths and weaknesses of students, and we divide them into small groups and provide interventions and small group instruction in areas in which they need. So it sounds like we're very much similar.
Sounds similar.
Yeah, it's great. So, when students move from primary to secondary school, we understand that the environment changes significantly. With secondaries being a boarding situation, how does that change the dynamics of the family, student, teacher involvement in the learning process?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, when our school setup has both boarding and those who go back home in the community. More especially to those who are sponsored and their families are within Kayonza, within the proximity of the school. They don't live on campus. They study and then go back go back home in the evening. And then we have also those who come from far, like Kigali and other parts of Rwanda. They come and they reside at campus. However, we always have parents teachers meeting, which are done every month. In these meetings, what happens is that we call parents. It could be a meeting organized by the deputy headmaster in charge of academic to come and talk particularly about academic performance of the children. So parents will get to come, sit with the teachers, and then talk about the performance of students and talk about the role of the parent in the education of the children. So these meetings happen monthly. At least we have a meeting organized every month. And in our time we have 3 months per term. So those are 3 meetings.
Okay.
So we don't have a problem whereby parents are far away from us. We call them, organize those meetings.
Right.
If a child has a problem in, let's say, in terms of discipline or in terms of performance in a particular discipline, we call the parents. We invite the parents to come and sit with the teacher and the child, and then we brainstorm and then help the child. If it's an issue of discipline, it's still the same. We come and we bring the parents. They come and sit down. We do the counseling together, and then we make sure that this child is not really left to the teacher or the situation alone. And we make sure that there's a parent's involvement in this. Yeah. So boarding school, whether you're a boarding child or you go back to the community, it's still the same. If it's a meeting that involves parents, the parents will come on that particular day, whether the kids are in boarding school or whether the kids go back home. So we'll have a meeting every month to really talk about the issues that affect the kids at school. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What do you? What would you like to know about the educational challenges and approaches that may apply to your situation? So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would like to know much about how you people deal with in your area. How do you deal with slow learners? You have a class of let's say 20 kids or 25 kids, but all these kids are they don't really they don't have the same understanding levels.
Right.
How do you deal with such kind of kids, slow learners? How do you get them to the level of their classmates?
Yeah.
And then the other question that I would maybe want to put forward that concerns our situation here is discipline issues. There are kids naturally who are very lazy. They're given homework, they don't do it.
Right.
And today you sit down with them to talk to them about the importance of having to do their coursework and teach them time. But the foreigner, he does the same thing.
Right.
And some of their parents are really not learned. They do not know even the value of education.
Right.
Literally, it's just a child left to a teacher.
Right.
How do you go about that?
Well, that's a very good question. And
Yeah.
although we're in 2 different countries, we have a similar problems.
I guess.
I think dealing with students that are not learning at the same rate as others, we have done and put some things in place at our school where we have extended the school day. And so after the last bell rings or before school starts, we have teachers work with those individual kids before the rest of the class comes. And so that is something we have found has been very successful for us. We've also been able to provide additional reading support during the day with an additional teacher who goes and pulls small groups of kids in reading or in math and works with them to get them up to speed. But that is a challenge for us.
What about the parents? The kids whose parents really do not even want to turn up when they call a meeting and doesn't really know the essence. I mean, doesn't understand the importance of education, and literally the child is just he's just left it to the teachers to decide the fate.
Right. Yeah.
What happens in that
Well,
kind of...
we certainly run into that as well. And what we try to do is we will set up meetings with parents and teachers and the administrators, myself and my assistant. Will attend those meetings. Now, if they don't come, we go to their house. And we try to make it clear to them about what is the consequences of their child not doing well. As far as a student not doing homework or doing things in the school, what we say is if you don't do on your time or on our time, we're going to have additional time for you. Maybe things that you want to do, preferred activities, you're now going to have these things that you haven't completed. So holding kids accountable, having high expectations for kids, and really making it relevant to them and making sure that they understand and parents understand what are the consequences for their kids not doing well on the testing, for example. For us, if kids leave our school in 5th grade, they go to the 6th grade level. If they have not performed well on the state examinations, similar to your high stakes testing here, they're not able to take certain classes at the middle school level, and they get put into remedial classes, which they oftentimes don't need to be in, but because they have been motivated in elementary school, and so we try to make that very real to them in a very real way, but it's difficult.
I know. Yeah, to us is a really big challenge because most of the such kind of kids, you always find that their parents have never gone to school. They're going to school.
Yeah.
Even when you tell them that they're gonna miss class,
Right.
they don't care.
Right.
And next time when the child is repeated, the next thing you know, he's dropped out of school.
Right.
Yeah. So that's to us is a big challenge.
Sure.
Yeah. So we sometimes just have to take it upon ourselves
Yep.
to find means, to really, push this kid to study and to work hard. And sometimes we even make sure that we see to the child and make sure that the homework is done.
Right.
Yeah. When we just seeing.
Right.
Otherwise, we know that if he goes back home, they won't help him.
Won't help him.
Yeah.
We have the same situation. We run into that. We constantly battle with that.
Yeah.
So, one of the questions that I had for you, and you talked about it a little bit earlier. Your school is one of the top in the country, and you talked about some of the things that you think led to that success. And so, if you could just kind of share those. And kind of elaborate on why do you think the students here have been so successful and
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I told you that 90% of our kids, the kids who attend our school, they are sponsored. And that means their families have no means to really support them to go to school. So to our kids, if they're given an opportunity to come to school, they know for sure if they don't use that opportunity very well, they have no chance to go to school. So when they are here, they do everything possible to make sure that they really, succeed. That means they have to work hard. That means they have to follow school rules and regulations.
Right.
They don't want to be kicked out of school because they know that's the last thing they ever wanted to happen to them. That's number one. Number two is the kind of environment that our kids are brought up in. Besides just teaching, we know for sure that these are our kids. We behave like parents, and they're like our kids.
Right.
So we do parenting. And also we love them. We tell them that we encourage them. We tell them that we're here for you. We want you to do this because we know that you're the future, leaders of this nation. So they know that pretty sure well that that they have to really, take care of us as parents, and that's an act of discipline. Discipline has really been, a very good component of our success.
right.
So the other thing is, like I said, the curriculum that is being used here, we did participate, our teachers did participate in drawing the curriculum. So we have qualified teachers, and they know what they're doing.
Right.
When it comes to really teaching, we have the best teacher that this country can ever think of.
Yeah.
So that is also another component of our success.
It's a great formula for success, and it's obviously working.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.